Hello and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Feliz Navidad, whatever it is. If you celebrate here coming the next few days coming up, we are too. I'm Eugene Stevens. I'm here for Epically Geeky Gaming, and today is kind of an interesting show. Back in October, one of my boys was like, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for Christmas, and one of my boys suggested that, hey, why don't you play games that you got for Christmas? And I was just like, that's not a bad idea. So that's what we're gonna do. Changing that over to live chat. So there we go. So yeah, hopefully this should be a fun show. We're actually gonna be doing lots of different several different consoles this time. I can't completely, like, no one's gonna fact check me on this. There's two people, maybe three people in this world that could fact check me on all this. And I don't think anyone watched the show, so I'm not worried about it. But I'm pretty sure this is pretty close to how things went. So far in the chat, we've got Wolfus here with his traditional well. We'll see if anyone else joins us for chat. It's not a normal time that I do the show. This is right at noon on a Tuesday afternoon, but I'm off for Christmas, so that's why I've done up here. So let's go ahead and get started here. The first game that we're going to play is one that I know for a fact, 100%, I remember this correctly. The time seems a little off for me, but I guess looking back at dates and stuff, this has to be the case. So yeah, the first game that we're going to look at is the only game that I still own from my Atari 2600 that I originally got, that I did not play the first time when I was going through and playing the Atari games, because specifically I was saving it for this episode. So the year, I'm going to sound like Sophia from Golden Girls, if you know what that is. Picture it, 1988. An 11-year-old Eugene is excited for Christmas, like most kids are, and my brother and my best friend were asking for a different video game console for Christmas. Now, I know it had to be 1988 because we'll talk about that here in just a minute. This is kind of a two-part story. But they were specifically asking for another video game console, and I wasn't having it. I had my Atari 2600. I was perfectly fine with it, or at least I thought it was, because in my mind, you go to the arcade, and arcades are these giant cabinets that play really awesome video games, because of course they play really awesome video games. They're a giant cabinet. Like, that makes sense. As a kid, you put some of these things together and you're just like, okay, well, if it's a giant cabinet, that means it's got a lot of electronics in it. So that means it's got to play a much better game. So on the Atari, on the other hand, it's a small console. You have it at home. So, of course the game version's not going to be quite as good. But I looked it up and I was trying to figure out exactly, the dates and stuff on this. And like I said, I know it had to be Christmas of 1988 because of some other stuff that happened. But I asked for the last game that I ever got for the Atari 2600. I was super excited about it. I can imagine the reason why I asked for it was because of the cartoons and stuff that I was currently watching at the time. So let's take a look here. And the first game we are going to play is Ghostbusters on the Atari 2600. It came out in October of 1985. So this game was actually already out for 3 years before I got it. It is a port of the more complex Commodore 64 version. I've never actually played that version, so I couldn't attest to that. It is considered better than the NES version due to smoother gameplay, which is crazy to me. Because, like I said, this was the last Atari game that I ever got for my 2600, and there's a very distinct reason for that. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute when we move to the next game. But I do still have my original console. I still have my original copy of Ghostbusters. And what's really cool about this one is, unfortunately, I cannot read the names on it, and I should have gone through and looked it up. But it is actually signed by the programmers. I managed to meet these gentlemen at actually I've met them a couple times at some different gaming conventions, Super nice guys. They are still making Atari games to this day and selling them, brand new Atari games. I wish for the life of me I could remember their names. And of course, as most signatures, you know, you can't look at the signature and tell exactly what it is. But this is my original Activision Ghostbusters cartridge back from 1988. So like I said, the game was already out for 3 years. I'm sure I was excited about it because I was watching the real Ghostbusters Saturday mornings. Like that was the thing to do. If you're of my age group, you know, Saturday morning was for, you know, cartoons, and that's what we did. So that's the first game we're going to play. Yeah, I don't know how well this is going to play because you had to, I was actually earlier this morning looking up how to play this game, and you had to go through and you had to switch different buttons on the Atari itself to get it when you got to different modes and stuff. I don't know if we'll quite get that far enough, but we'll see. So yeah, let's go ahead and swing on over here real quick. And we'll start it up. There we go. Our Ghostbusters on the Atari 2600. David Crane is one of them. Yes, I know David Crane. Let's see here. Can I tell which one of these is Crane? I want to say this top one's got to be David Crane. So, yeah. So Atari 2600 Ghostbusters. Let's restart it real quick. Oh, hold on. There we go. So this is what it looks like. So basically what's happening is anytime you see one of these green blocks, which is supposed to represent, it's supposed to represent the power of Zool. I'm sorry, these are buildings. I lost audio. Oh, I lost audio because I clicked on something else. That's why. It's just like, what happened? Tell me if that is too loud. That seems a little loud to me. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit more too. There we go. Let's try this again. All right. Like I said, if you're listening to this, hopefully this isn't overbearing, so we'll see. I've got to turn it down for me, though, just because it is it's a little loud for me. All right, so here. Anyway, so all the green areas, all the green blocks are buildings, and whenever there's a red one, that's one where there's a ghost in it. The ghosts that are flying through the air, you can catch those in the Ecto. We'll see that here in just a second. But as they go up and they get to the Zool area, they increase Zool's power. Once Zool gets to a certain power, then here comes Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And you had to do a certain thing on the console in order to stop him from destroying a building. So, and that's the main part of the game. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right. So we've got $5,000 and we can buy. There we go. We can buy different things to help us with what we need. So the image, this helps us to, $800 helps us to be able to see the ghost. So we definitely need one of those. Bait, we'll buy one bait. The vacuum, we definitely got after that. And then traps. So let's buy 2 or 3 traps. All right, there we go. All right. Oh, and of course that redid it. So there we go. And there's our Ectomobile. It's a short drive. So, okay, I was trying to get there. How did I not? See, this is the thing about this game is even though I have to press, I think, down. It's weird. Okay, there we go. So we press the button once. Oh, I should have turned it the other way. Okay, I got the ghost at least. All right, sucked up the ghost. So one button to do that. Come on over here. Nope, missed this one. And I got slimed, so... Oh, missed it. Alright, so now I gotta go back to Ghostbuster Central because back to the firehouse because both my guys got slimed, so I gotta pick up 2 new guys. Alright. Not doing well here. And yes, I love this music. Like, for those of you who know me in real life, I dress up as a Ghostbuster and I do events and stuff, and raise money for charity. I'll put it over here this time. All right, we got him that time. Anyway, so we listened to this. We listened to lots of different versions of this song at our events and everything. And, but yeah, just this over and over again, this Atari version of the Ghostbusters theme. Ooh, this is rough, let me tell you. And so I've got to get enough money. I've got to get, I think, $10,000 before the PKE meter hits $999, if I remember correctly. But needless to say, this is not... And see, I've got all my traps are full now. So I've got to go back to base and I've got to empty them. But, yeah, needless to say, this was not, like, super high-end. This was not what I was hoping for. And, I think part of the reason why this was the last Atari game I got was because it wasn't tickling that itch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be a Ghostbuster. I loved, playing Ghostbusters. I loved watching the cartoon and everything. Oh, I missed it. But yeah, this just didn't do it for me. And I think at this time, I didn't check this. I'm pretty sure, of course he's going to be over here on this other side. We're not going to game that time. So I got to go back to base now. Anyway, this just wasn't doing it for me. It just wasn't what I wanted because I'd been playing. I'm pretty sure I'd been playing the Ghostbusters arcade game, and yeah, like that one. At least you got to run around and actually, shoot the beams and everything. And even though it seemed like you always were constantly running out of power and had to like shoot or whatever. Nope. Yeah, this one just wasn't doing what I wanted for it, so. Let's see here. Tricom, hey man, what's going on? I stayed in a hotel where Ray Parker Jr. was staying in Florida back in the day. Nice. Yeah, I haven't actually met Ray Parker Jr. I have met all 3 of the living OG Ghostbusters, though. If you check out my Instagram, Optimus Gene, you can see where I've got, if you go through it, you can see where I've got pictures of meeting all 3 of the guys. So, all of them very cool. Oh, lost a ghost that way. And I think if I lose a ghost, it counts against me money-wise, if I remember correctly. Oh, and it looks like the ghosts are starting to fly faster. The PKE meter's picking up speed. Oh. Close, but no cigar. This is not going well. Yep, here they go. Oh. Oh, and see, Stay Puft trampled the building. So maybe it was 5,000 and not 10,000. But yeah, this is Ghostbusters on the Atari. We'll see if we can bust one more real quick. Nope. All right, I think I'm done with this one. So yeah, that's Ghostbusters on the Atari. That is the last game that I got on my Atari 2600. And the interesting story to this one is because it was the last game. Like I said, it's Christmas. I think it was Christmas morning when this was happening. I went in my bedroom and I fired up the 2600 and I started playing this game, and I played it for a while. And I'm just like, it's okay. It's just not, it's not what I hoped for. It really wasn't what I was hoping for. And so I walk into the family room. It was kind of like a den, kind of a family room or whatever, where we were living. And we did get the other thing that my brother really wanted. He wanted a Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, the reason why I know this was 1988 and not earlier than then is because the Nintendo Entertainment System that we got was the Action Pack, and it was the one that had Super Mario Brothers, it had Duck Hunt, and it had the Power Pad to play World Class Track Meet. So, the second game we're going to play is Super Mario Brothers. Now, here's my OG cartridge. As you can see, it does have all three of the games on there. I'm not going to bother trying to play Duck Hunt because I don't have a way to, actually use the zapper. I do still have my original zapper. I don't have it here with me, but I do still have my original zapper. I do not have my original Power Pad. I have no idea what happened to it. Honestly, the Power Pad was one of those things that sounds good in theory, but as you go through, you just like, man, it's not as useful or as fun as you think it was going to be. And so, yeah, I just, I'm not going to worry about playing those two games, but we are going to play some Super Mario Brothers. I just realized here, this is still showing top chat instead. Let's see here. Interact. Let's do the live chat instead. There we go. All right. That's better. Okay. So, last line, Ghostbusters. Absolutely. Yeah. You had a separate cart instead of the 3-pack cart. No, like I said, it was all three of them together. It was the one cart that had all three games on it. So, but it had two controllers, it had the zapper, and it had, the Power Pad. So, but yeah, that was that. And so to go along with the story. So like I said, I was in my bedroom playing Ghostbusters. I walk into the family room. My dad is sitting there with the instruction manual, reading through it, figuring out how to hook up the Nintendo Entertainment System to the, I'm guessing my probably a 13-inch little television that was sitting there. I can still picture the damn thing. I want to say it was an Emerson. Don't quote me on that though. The TV tube was on the left-hand side. It had two knobs because, you had the big knob for, the large tuning, and then the small knob for, fine tuning. And then it had, I want to say it had the two little screw-in adapters that gave you an RF connection. And while he's reading this, my brother has already pulled out the Nintendo, hooked it up, and has it going. And so I walk in to see Super Mario Brothers. Now, like I said, the last game that I just played was Ghostbusters, and we just saw how it was. Super Mario Brothers blew me away. And I was just like, okay, let me give this a shot. And then once I played it, I was done. I did not go back to my Atari 2600 for a long time. And I used to play the dog out of that thing. In fact, I had two of them. I had one of the original wood versions, the wood case ones, and it died on me, and my parents ended up buying the smaller black one, which I have back here. And yeah, like it was I played the heck out of that thing. But once I got a Nintendo, man, it was done. Um, so Super Mario Brothers was actually out for 3 years by the time I actually got a hold of one. Bundled with the NES, sold 40.23 million units. Greatest selling game of all time until Wii Sports. Yeah, and I totally believe that. So, all right, let's go ahead and switch over here real quick. Let me go ahead and pull it up. There we go. All right. So yeah, we're gonna play a little Super Mario Brothers. Like I said, love this game. Loved this game. The NES version is such a good port of Super Mario. Oh, Tricome. Are you talking about Super Mario Brothers? Or are you talking about Ghostbusters? Because originally I read that Ghostbusters was better on the Atari 2600. I'm assuming since I've been talking for a while about Mario Brothers, you're talking about that. But yes, they did a fantastic job of porting this game. At that time, I believed, wow, this console, as compared to the Atari 2600, you can actually get a somewhat arcade accurate version of the game. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Super Mario Brothers. Okay, that's what I thought. We had the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt one. Okay, yeah. So that one came out, I want to say the year beforehand. So can you imagine that, guys? Like this day and age, getting a new console and number one, getting 2 controllers. Like that's insane. That is insane that you can get 2 controllers with a console nowadays, unless it's a unless it's it's a retro version. Tricome. I played Ghostbusters on the Apple IIc. Yeah, dude, I never had an Apple II. A buddy of mine did, and every time we'd go to his house, we wanted him to fire up Mario Brothers, not Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers. And it was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of the 5.5-inch floppy disk he was having to, or 5 1/4 floppy disk he was having to put in just to load up the game. But yeah, those Apple IIs, man, we had several of them at the school, and let me tell you, I definitely put in my time on Oregon Trail. The part that got me on Oregon Trail every time, though, is because it was such a the thing that got me was like it's the same gameplay all the way through the game, and then you get to the very end and you're just like, oh wow, now we have to forge, or we have to get out on the river or whatever, and it's just like, okay, this is completely new. We haven't seen anything like this in the rest of the game, and the controls are kind of wonky. So I did manage to win a couple of times, but I can't tell you how many times I died at that very end part of Oregon Trail just because I was just like, what am I doing? Like, what button does what or whatever? It was crazy. But yeah, let's play some Super Mario Brothers. So. Oh my God. It is, yeah, that was embarrassing. Especially for if young me was watching me right now, it'd be like, all right, old man. But I am emulating this, so I'm sure there is a slight delay. I've talked about this with Sai multiple times and stuff, so. But also, this is one of those games that, like, if you don't really keep playing it and stay up with it, you can lose your knack for this game very quickly. I will say, back in the day, I used to be able to play this game and beat it. So that was one of the interesting things about this game was speedrun it, Eugene, your favorite broken toy. No, I'm not speedrunning this, Sean. Yeah, I'm not doing well so far. Yeah, the thing about it is, and a lot of people forget about this, was Luigi did not get to play until Mario died. And I used to be able to beat this game 3 times in a row without ever dying. And no one wanted to play this game with me because they were literally like, well, okay, I'll beat Luigi. That's, no problem or whatever. Even though I'm sure we all saw, the t-shirts back in the day that would say things like, Luigi is for little brothers. Because, boy, that's the case. Anyway, yeah, I could beat this game 3 times in a row without ever dying. And so, second player was basically just waiting forever to get their turn to play. I'm telling the rest of the Geeky Squad right now. What? Did I suck? Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Oh, I cannot believe I did that. There we go. Okay. It's starting to come back to me a little bit. Oh, that made up for that one life I've already lost. I may have to go back and I didn't mention this before the show started. I got started a few minutes late because my other control. I'm actually playing with my second. We're not going to use the warp zone. We're going to keep going. My controller I normally play with. Oh, jeez, it didn't hit the butt. My purple one here, like it was being detected, but it was not letting me. It wasn't letting me do anything. And so I had to switch over here to my green one, which is fine. It's the same. It is the same controller, but yeah, I was having a problem with that. But I'm kind of thinking here, because this is an SNES style controller, it wants to default Atari Nintendo controls to being A and B right here, which makes sense. This is A and B. But if you're playing on a controller like this, Y and B just feel so much better. And I'm halfway playing with the idea of changing that so that I can it just would feel better whenever I'm playing games. So let's see here. Check the chat. Telling the rest of yeah, it's funny how they did the turns. They should have made it until death and completed a stage. Yeah, or completed a stage. Absolutely. I used to do the one-up trick too much, and it would break the game. Oh, yeah, I remember that one where you get the turtle on the edge of the tower, and you can just, like, keep doing it. And I think if you got past 99 lives, that's what broke it, if I remember it. So, but, I mean, look at this compared to, what the Atari could do. Like I said, I'm not hating on the Atari at all. I know there's lots of people that love the original 2600. And like I said, for its time, it was a great console. I was the one that was like, no, I've got a 2600. I don't want a Nintendo. And I think the reason I didn't want a Nintendo is kind of funny. One of my favorite games in the arcade at the time was Rampage. And I remember going to I couldn't even tell you which software center it would have been, which, Babbage's or something like that. And I remember asking the guy, me and my dad were asking the guy, hey, do they make a version of Rampage for the Atari 2600? I believe they do, but at that time he said no, they do not. He said the only version that you can buy, and who knows, he may have just been lying through his teeth at that time, was for the Nintendo. And that pissed me off. I was like, well, I don't have a Nintendo. I don't have the money for a Nintendo, but I want to play this game. And it really kind of got on my nerves as a kid. And I think that was one of the reasons I was just like, yeah, I don't want a Nintendo because, I want to be able to play the games I have on my system. Isn't that weird how, like, even as a kid, we do that mess where it's like, oh, no, it's not. That's on a different system, so I have no interest in it. My system's better than the other system. And unfortunately, that carried... Oh, I knew that was going to happen. That carried through with us until adulthood. And that's why we have the freaking Sony versus Microsoft, debate and conversations. I thought there were more. Yeah, that was... Let's see if I can run past him. I made it. I like the achievement here. She's in another what? All right, checking the chat. I spent a lot of time playing Asteroids and Donkey Kong on Atari. Yeah. I have always sucked at Donkey Kong, though. I just have never been good at Donkey Kong. Take that. Thank you. This game is just so much fun. Still holds up to this day. I will say, though, I really wish on the Switch, I really wish that Nintendo had not made Mario 99 a limited thing, or was it Mario 35? What was it? It was Mario 35, I think it was. If you got to play that on the Switch, oh my god, that was so much fun. How's it sound, by the way, guys? I hope it's not too loud. It looks like it's okay. Hopefully it's also not too low. For those of you who missed my short little show that I did yesterday, I was testing out my new PC. That's actually what I'm playing on right now. So things should be running much smoother. I was floored because the system I was using is still sitting over here. I'm actually about to give it to one of my boys to use just kind of background stuff or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it was an older system. It was like a Ryzen 3. It had a slow CPU in it. Tricom says it's a bit quiet. Okay, I'll turn it up just a little bit. There we go. I'll see how that is in a second. Anyway, and so I'm about to give him that for some other stuff that he wants. But anyway, so I moved up to, this is an Intel Core i5, much better video card or whatever. And like on my other one, it's not quite a new PC, Tricom. It's parts that my brother-in-law gave me. He had built a gaming PC a little while back and was just like, yeah, I don't really use it. Actually, he had built it for his wife, his now wife. And he was like, she doesn't play at all. And so do you want the parts? I was like, sure, I'll take them or whatever. And it was a huge upgrade from what I was running right now. And so when I was doing these streams, just playing Nintendo games, just playing whatever, it was like, depending on the game, I would be hitting 40, 50% CPU usage. If some other stuff was going on, sometimes I'd get up to even 60 or 70% CPU usage. It still managed to go, but as you can imagine, every so often I'd have a crash and everything else. This thing, even though I'm currently playing games, now granted, I'm not playing anything that's breaking the system. I actually tried this yesterday. Like I was even playing things like Dreamcast and PlayStation 1 and stuff. I don't think I ever got above 3% CPU usage. It's crazy how much difference this is. So yeah, this is like I said, it's not a new PC build. It's new to me, and it has been so much better. So, all right, well, let's continue on here just a little bit longer, because there are some other games I want to play as well. What's funny is another story about this, and I thought it was interesting, was if you had a Nintendo Wii, do y'all remember when the online store went online? Because it went online on Christmas Day. Don't quote me of the year, though. But I know it went online Christmas Day. And the reason I know that is because we were at my wife's grandparents' house for Christmas that year. And I brought my Wii with me, number one, so we had something to kind of do, to kind of mess around, play with and stuff. But I remember waking up Christmas morning and running, hooking it up, making sure it was hooked up to the internet, and running an update and being able to play the online games. And the first game that I purchased and downloaded for the Wii was this, Super Mario Brothers. And so for the second time in my life, which is what I thought was so fun, the second time in my life, I was playing Super Mario Brothers, essentially brand new, on Christmas morning. I just thought that was kind of a fun thing. And then, yeah, so my boys were young. I introduced them to, the Mario games and stuff. We have played some Mario games together. Not a lot. I know that they would just hand me my ass in a first-person shooter. But when it comes to these old games, Dad still got a lot of skill compared to them. So, and I was sucking at first here. Everyone saw it. Sean saw it and called me out. So, all right, we're gonna go until at least I die, or I beat this next castle, whichever comes first. Didn't get enough momentum on it. All right, so we're going to call it. All right, because like I said, I do have some other games that I would like to play. All right, so let's go with another game that I got on Christmas. Oh, Luke's Awakening. Hey, man, what's going on? My daughter doesn't like these old games. I've tried. Dude, it is very hit or miss. All I can say is, from one dad to another, don't force it. I was listening to, there's a podcast series that I really like. They've actually kind of gone on and done some other stuff, but one of the guys was talking about, he was super, super duper into Star Trek. And he really, really wanted his kids to be into Star Trek. And so he kind of like shoved it down their throats. It was like, hey, well, you need to watch this. It's great. Here, watch it with me. It'll be great. Well, whatever. And as a result, none of his kids got into Star Trek until much later. Apparently, one of them kind of came around on it. And I'll be honest with you, I almost did the exact same thing. So my brother, who's actually 2 years younger than I am, he had kids before I did. And his first son, his eldest, my nephew, is 2.5 years older than my boys are, and was super duper into Star Wars. And so I was always so afraid that their cousin was going to reveal the Darth Vader reveal to them before they got to watch it. And it just like, I don't know, something about it was just, I'm just like, no, I if this happens and I'm not there, I'm going to be pissed off. And so I was like, hey, we're going to watch Star Wars and stuff. And they were probably a little young. But I did get the reveal. That being said, they were just okay on Star Wars. And I thought I screwed up. I thought I had ruined Star Wars for them. But luckily, at that time period, now that it was already in reruns at this point, but one of my boys really started getting into Clone Wars. So the animated series. So say what you want about the prequels. I think most people have kind of come back around on the prequels. But the Clone Wars saved my ass for Star Wars. Like, quite honestly, watching those cartoons with my boys saved Star Wars for me. And I will forever be in debt for that. So yeah, just don't press it really. If there's something that they're interested in. And like, there's things that I like that they just don't really care about. Like, neither one of them have really been into superhero stuff. Which kills me, because every so often a movie will come out and they'll be like, hey, do we want to go see this? I'm like, you're missing like 14 movies leading up to what explains this, what's going on. I'm like, if you want to sit down and watch them with me, I will, but I don't think that's going to happen, guys. So, and then since then, like every so often, one or two might come out they're interested in. Like, I did take them to go see Superman, but like Marvel stuff, the last thing they saw was it No Way Home? I think they watched No Way Home with me, the Spider-Man. But after that, they haven't seen anything, and they haven't been interested in it. So, all right, I have missed a lot in chat. Let's see what's going on. Spend time playing Astro. Okay, I skipped the Nintendo and went to Sega Genesis. You and Ray, man, like my favorite Broken Toys talking. Yeah, I had Nintendo, I had a Super Nintendo, and then I had a Sega Genesis. Pretty sure that was the order. So, that debate is over. Microsoft threw in the towel. They haven't necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily they've thrown in the towel, but they definitely don't know what to do with the towel anymore. And they don't even know what the hell they don't even know what a towel is at this point. Commodore 64 was my baby instead of Nintendo. Dude, yeah, like I don't think I ever had a Commodore 64. In fact, I know I didn't. It's crazy. I need to go back. I'm pretty sure my mom would not remember, and unfortunately, I don't have my dad's not around anymore that I could ask him. But I remember getting one of those I remember getting one of those computers that was just the keyboard together, and I don't remember if it was an Atari or what it was. But I need to go back and do some research on that. So, Luke's Awakening. That's a big Twinkie. Yeah, that's a big Twinkie. Yeah, yeah. Mario 35 was awesome. Shame they didn't sell it and continue. See, I don't get it. Like, even if I would have paid for that. I would have totally paid for that game to keep playing it because that was a hell of a lot of fun to sit down and play. My daughter is like, okay, yeah, I'd never force it. I don't want her to hate the stuff. Absolutely. We watched all of the series every day for a couple of years. KJ still loves the Trek, but the other two not so much. Yeah, I get it. So, and it's kind of hard for Sean there, my favorite Rick and Toy. He actually named all three of his kids after Starfleet captains. Like he's my Star Trek guy. So, Luke's Awakening, the prequels are more watchable for modern audiences. I've always loved those movies, dude. I liked them. But honestly, after watching Clone Wars and the Bad Batch and stuff like that, where it really fills in, like I've told people this multiple times. Going back and watching, especially episode 3 after watching Clone Wars, is heartbreaking because you're sitting there watching. The first time you watch this movie, you're like, "Oh, that's a cool Jedi. Oh, they're dead. Oh, that's a cool looking Jedi. Oh, they're dead." Well, okay, that person's dead too. And you're just like, it's just these characters. You don't know who they are. You don't have any, you don't grasp onto them. You don't have any love for them. And then you watch it in Clone Wars and you see them being a badass. And like Plo Koon, you're just like, dude, Plo Koon is awesome. And so when you see him get struck down by the Emperor, just like it's nothing, it's heartbreaking. So yeah, I definitely tell people if you're not really big into, the prequels on Star Wars, go back and watch Clone Wars first. Completely changes that series. All right, let's move on to our next game. The next game I had on the list that I'm 99% sure I got for Christmas was The Legend of Zelda. Pretty sure got it at like the same time we got the Nintendo. I was asking my mom about this. I could not remember. Both my mom and my brother remember us getting The Legend of Zelda when we got the Nintendo. I don't necessarily remember it, but we're going to go with it. So it was actually released August 22nd, 1987. First console game with a save function. If you using the name Zelda, it triggers the second quest. So that's something that I had completely forgotten about until I started doing research for this. I mean, I knew about the second quest. I just didn't remember if you put in Zelda, it would automatically trigger it. So, because of course, otherwise you have to go through and beat the game. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it here. The thing I remember most about this game is that it's funny. Cy was actually talking about this the other day. He was talking about some console he had, and he had a teacher that had one as well, and they actually would trade games. And I didn't have a teacher that I did that with. On the other hand, though, I did have, when I was in middle school, we had a married couple. Mrs. Nault taught theater. She taught the theater class, and Mr. Nault was the band director. And they just retired not too long ago. In fact, I actually had the privilege of being their campus tech the years that right before they retired. So I actually got to go back and work with those teachers. But I will never forget them, both of them, coming in certain mornings and just were like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, stayed up way too late playing Legend of Zelda. Like that was their game. They were all in on Legend of Zelda. And yes, I do still have my cart. And this is still the best, one of the best things Nintendo's ever done. Like, you can talk trash about Nintendo now, and I'm not gonna argue it, but this gold they did on these cartridges for The Legend of Zelda, just chef's kiss, man. Absolute chef's kiss. So fantastic. But the fact that they didn't continue it on with some of the other ones, like they should have done it with, like, even the disc, like, when you were buying disc at this point, or even like the one for the Switch, they should have made it gold. Like, that would be such a cool thing to throw back to. My favorite brick and toy. I got to get back to my Christmas baking. Peace out, y'all. All right, dude, man, take care of yourself. Zelda 2 is the definitive NES Zelda. Okay, so I've always liked Zelda 2, and I talked about it, I think, when I played it the other day. My problem with it was I hated the game in that anytime you die, you end up, you end up, I'm gonna restart it real quick. You end up, going back to the original castle, except for the last castle. And I did not know that for years until after the fact. So I had to save on my Nintendo for Zelda 2, where I literally had everything. I was grinding in that game. I had maxed out everything. And still, as hard as I would play, I would go through every so often. I'd fire it up and I'd go through and try to play it. And I couldn't, I would die in the last castle. Because, you have to go through the entire map to get there. And so at that point, I just reset the console and go do something else. And then a buddy of mine, who was my valedictorian the year I graduated, comes over and we got to talking about it. He's like, well, here, let me show you. I'll show you how to beat it. And I was like, okay. So he sits there and plays it and he goes through. And when he dies, I'm just like, see? And then he hits continue. And when he started at the beginning of the last castle, blew my mind. I sat there and watched him beat the game. I was like, all right, mate, thanks for coming over and showing me that or whatever. Like, literally, said bye, ushered him out the front door, immediately ran to my room, fired up the console again, and did the same thing. I was just like, all of these years, I could have freaking beat this game. And because of that one thing, I didn't realize it. But yeah, I've always loved this one as well. So the gold NES, the gold N64 cards just don't look the same as oh no, it's definitely a different gold plating on it. So I say plating, different color. So yeah, you restart except for that final palace. That was killer. That was absolute killer. Yeah, let's register our name. Nope, that's the wrong button. No. Go back through here. All right. Who else as a kid would put in things and just as long as your parents didn't see, you'd play, butt, boobs, dick, whatever it might be. Occasionally, if I think someone's cool enough when they come into my office to get a PC or something, because that is one of the things that's part of my job is assigning computers and stuff to new teachers on my campus, I will tell them it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Some of them get it. Some of them don't, because some of these new teachers they're young. They're young. I ain't got no money. Such iconic music. Oh, dang it. Forgot I don't have the big shield. And I got hit again. Come on, I can use a heart here. Who here remembers Nintendo cereal? If anyone doesn't remember it, they're probably like, what? There were 2 cereals in it. There was the Super Mario cereal. And I'm trying to remember what it tasted like. It tasted pretty good. I can't remember exactly what it tasted like, though. And then there was a Legend of Zelda cereal. Oh, this isn't going good. Could use a heart here. I don't need money, I need hearts. Probably not wise to go ahead and go into the dungeon with just half a heart, but we're going to do it. Anyway, yeah, Nintendo cereal had 2 different ones. It had a Super Mario Brothers version, and which was one flavor, and had a Zelda flavor. And I remember the Zelda one was like more of a... I walked right into that guy. Was more of a fruity flavor, and I loved that cereal. some of these teachers I see teaching high school now, I'm just like, damn, where were those hotties when I was in high school? I had old, yeah, I'm not going to comment on that too much, but there were some attractive young teachers when I was in high school. I do remember that, but yeah, there are definitely some. What kills me though is you see these stories and stuff where these teachers are, doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing, and I'm just like, I don't really think you're that unattractive. Like, you couldn't find anyone your age or older. Like, yeah, that's just because here's the thing. I work at a high school. I will say kids look older now than they used to, but that's just kind of a thing. But that being said, like when you sit down and start talking to high school kids nowadays, like there are a lot of intelligent young people out there. I don't want to ever seem like I'm saying, oh, they're not, they're not as smart or whatever. I don't want anyone to ever think that, because that's not the case. There are some very intelligent young people that I've talked to. But they're the maturity is just different. Like, it's like, I understand how some people, end up marrying someone who's a lot younger than they are. I mean, my wife is 2 years younger than I am. Year and a half, 2 years. But like, we can talk about the same type of stuff. I have members of my Ghostbuster group that we can talk about lots of different things, but then they'll go on like a tangent, and I'm just like, I have no clue what you're talking about. I guess you could just say, in some of these cases of these couples where there's a large difference in age, maybe there's something else they have in common. Like maybe they're both really into video games or board games or whatever it might be. But I'm just like, I love young people. I don't mind being around them and, teaching them and everything else. But yeah, eventually you're just like, no, I need some olds. I need some people that are the same age that I am so I can have a conversation about stuff. Especially when you start talking about some things and you're just like, does your back hurt? No? Oh, that's right, because you're 2. You wouldn't know back pain if you fell off a building. And even then you would probably still be fine. Oh, we got a bomb too. Sweet. It's funny, like I said, I don't normally use this controller, so it's not quite as worn in as my other one is. And I can definitely feel it on the cross pad here. This is the thing I never understood about this section of the game. As a kid, like this was like weird to me. Why am I not able to change over to... Oh, because never mind. I have the bow. I was thinking for some reason I had the boomerang, and I don't have any arrows to shoot the bow. That's why. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, so I was playing with this controller, and yeah, it does feel a little different than my other one. So, and after I'm done with this stream... I guess I'm going to get to troubleshoot that, figure out why this controller is being seen by the computer. It is seeing it as a Bluetooth device. And RetroArch registers it. It says, controllers, seen. But for whatever reason, it won't let me it won't let me input anything. I knew that was going to happen. All right, how long have we been going? Should I beat this one? Everyone's seen this one, right? Yeah. We're not going to worry about it. Okay. We're going to move on. Do you have to deal with the whole 6-7 thing? Even my daughter is sick of hearing it. Yes. Well, okay, I say that. Yes, I do hear the kids saying it from time to time. I mainly get it from my boys, though. So they're all about the 6-7 thing, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. The thing I have found is to come up with a reply. Um, there was the Grinch that's at, I think, Universal. Kind of went famous for I think 6-7. I can't remember. I don't think either of my boys is watching right now. When you say 6-7, is the whole 6-7 kind of your hands up and down. The Grinch at Universal was caught replying to a kid one time, and it kind of went viral. They go up to him, they're like 6-7. He goes 8-9. And then before they can even reply, he just kind of like, scruffs their head and walks off. And they're like, no. And I told I showed that to my boys, and they're like, yeah, I guess that's not too bad, because the one they don't like that I also saw online is they'll bring up 6-7, and I'll tell them, and 42 unto you, because of course 6 times 7 is 42, and 42 is the answer to everything. Yeah, they don't, especially when my one boy Nick does not care for me saying that. So of course I do it anyway. All right, we got 2 more games we were going to go through here real quick. Tetris. I'm pretty sure I got a Game Boy 1989. I'm pretty sure I got one that Christmas. And of course it came with Tetris, and freaking played the dog out of this game. You could always do the old DX wrestling thing to them. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. What's funny is we were in the car last night driving around looking at Christmas lights, and one of my boys made the comment, something or another about, well, at least you don't have to worry about, at least 6-9's not really a big number anymore. And of course, me and my wife just look at each other. We're just like, yeah, people aren't just saying it like they're doing the 6-7 thing. I'm like, but that will always be a magic number, essentially. So anyway, but yeah, Tetris, you know what? I'm going to take off the Santa hat for a second, because frankly, I'm getting hot. So, all right, let's see here. Oh, he's a little small. All right, a little big here. So, all right, so Tetris on the Game Boy, released July 31st, 1989, bundled with the Game Boy, first game compatible with the Game Link cable. Yeah, I remember the trailer for it originally had this boy playing what was supposed to be a robot or something or another. Anyway, and they used the cable. I think I still have that cable somewhere. It may actually be down there with my OG Game Boy. I think I only ever used it once the entire time I had it. I knew other people who had a Game Boy, but I just never used it. Once again, it was one of those things that I guess if you used it all the time, it was great. But for most people, it sounds great in theory, but in practice, kind of like the Power Pad, it just didn't, at least for me, it didn't get used a lot. So, but yeah, let's go and go over here and play a little Tetris. So, and the way that I have this done is pulling in the Japanese cover for it, but whatever, same thing, it works. So, all right, we gotta go here to do this. There we go. There's only 13 achievements for this. That's interesting. I think the reason why you can play it 2-player on one console as well, I think that's another reason why I didn't ever use the Game Link. Plus, like, man, these things were like, what, $200 when they came out? Like, they were expensive. Built like a tank. Mine still works. Mine still works great. But yeah, there was no way my brother and I were both getting a Game Boy. Like, so it was like one of us could play the Game Boy and the other one had to do whatever. So I kind of lucked out in that my younger brother, he gets car sick very easily. And, so he could never play it on car rides. So anytime we went anywhere, I got the Game Boy because like he would get sick. And so I was just like, sweet, I get to play games and you get to look out the window. The 2 greatest things from Russia, vodka and Tetris. I would agree with that. A-Type. Now, when I was playing Tetris a little while back, I think Oh, I totally did not want to do that. I know some people will watch my Tetris playing and be like, why did you do that? And I did mess up just now, just a second ago. But I promise you, there is a method to the madness. At least for the most part. I'm human. I screw up just like everyone else, though. Gonna clear some things out here real quick. I like puzzle games. I always have. But there are certain ones that I definitely like more than others. Tetris is one of those. The OG Tetris is just a fantastic game. Still love it to this day. Still can pick it up, play the hell out of it. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 is another one of those games. That one just hit with me. And it was to the point that I got good with pretty much everyone. And so if you've ever played Puzzle Fighter 2, depending on the character that you pick, it does different. It drops different patterns of bricks on your opponent. And I even got good enough with Dan, who drops nothing but red. It doesn't matter. There's no pattern. It's just red. And I got good enough with Dan that if I was fast enough, I could drop just crap tons. Because I mean, all they had to do was wait till they got the little red gem thing that explodes red, and they pretty much had you. But if you could go fast enough, if you could drop enough blocks on them fast enough before they got a red, they were done for. There was no hope of coming back from that. By the way, if you have Apple, now it's just called Apple TV, but if you had Apple TV Plus and you haven't watched the documentary that they did, not documentary, based on a true story, that type of thing. If you have not watched that, I think it is just called Tetris. On it, go watch it. It's fantastic. The music's great on it. I'm sure they hyped it up to make it a little more dangerous, essentially, than the actual situation was. Or who knows? I mean, we are talking about Russia. It could have been very much that dangerous. Them trying to get out of the country, with the game. But yeah, it's a fantastic documentary. Whatever. Based on a true story. Movie. It's a movie. We'll call it a movie. Call it what it is. Check the chat here in just a second. I was hoping Cyrus was going to be able to join us, but I know he's at work. He had a stream this morning at like 3:45. And I was just like, I know the man has a hard time sleeping sometimes. He even said that. He said he didn't get good sleep the night before, something like that. But I'm surprised. Like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just be like, all right, get up, go to the bathroom, get comfortable again. Maybe I was too hot sleeping or something like that. And sometimes I'll just look. I'll be like, oh, let's just see. Sure enough, he's either streaming or, has done a stream or something like that. And I'm just like, get some sleep, man. Especially the older we get, the more important sleep is. All right, pause real quick and check it a chat, as he likes to say. I think the Game Boy was cheaper than that. It was maybe $129. Was it? It may have been that cheap. Oh, so even cheaper than that. $89.99. So, okay, so I must be completely remembering it wrong. So, yeah, the Tetris movie is good. I liked it. Yeah, I don't think he sleeps. Like sometimes I wonder if he's a vampire. Yeah, it seems he has those kind of streams at least once every other week. Yeah, like I said, we gotta watch out for our buddy Cy. Gotta take care of him. Of course, I say that as someone who said, sometimes I've seen these done a stream and be like, nope, going back to bed, because usually I have work or something going on. So I'm glad he's off for several days, though. In fact, that's one of the things I need to try to do while I'm off on break. We've talked about it. Now that I've got a better PC going, I need to figure out how to do the virtual camera in what's it called? OBS. because we were playing F-Zero, and he was using the virtual camera, and I was just playing on screen or whatever. But if I could do the virtual camera on mine as well, which I should be able to do, I've just got to figure it out. We want to go back and play some games together. But I know, and he's brought up as well, RetroArch does have it where you can sit up and play games online with friends. Like, that is one of the things that it touts. Now, I've never done it. I need to sit down and figure it out. But if I can, I'd love to sit down and go back and play some old games with him. And hell, play some games with y'all. Like, if you're... I know some of you guys like to do emulation. Some of you don't. But I mean, if we're talking about just sitting around goofing off, just to play games, old retro games together, that's fine. We can figure it out. And we don't even have to stream it. All that may be blasphemy for some people here. What? Play games and not stream it? Who are you? I will say I do get stuck in that content creation ideology sometimes. I guarantee you there's been times that my friends have been like, hey, do you want to jump on and we can play something or we can do something? Be like, yeah, do you want me to stream it? They're just like, yeah, I guess so. I know they're probably like, can we just like hang out? Just something fun about getting those Tetrises. And I don't even know how high or like the best I've ever done. I don't... Even if I had ever kept up with that information, it's completely leaked out of my head at this point. That information is so far gone. And yet there's some things that, it's crazy what your brain will hold on to and what it won't. I still have pretty much all of my G1 Transformers. They're not in great condition. Most of them have been played with to pieces. Like, they are not in good condition. But the ones that are still somewhat together and still somewhat in okay condition, it may take me a second or two, but I guarantee you if I pulled them out right now, I could transform almost every single one of them. That is information that was ingrained into my brain. Hell, that may be in my DNA at this point. I'm kind of surprised I didn't somehow pass it on to my boys at this point. Just come out of the womb and be like, here's Jazz, go for it. I do still want to get back into collecting Transformers, because the ones that are out now are so freaking cool. But like everything else, like comic books and video games, retro games and everything else, like, costs money. And, at some point you got to go, well, do I want to eat this month or do I want to get Ultra Magnus? All right, let's check the chat real quick. Yeah, seems check the chat. I think came from Drunk Evil Streams. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. So I don't know if I'm subscribed to him. I need to go look and see if I can subscribe to him, because I know Cy talks about him a lot, so I need to look into it. So, but don't quote me on that in case Cy wants to take credit. Okay, fair enough. I don't know if you saw the stream the other night, but I need Cyrus to make a shirt of, if you saw his cover art he did where he's riding a giant version of Jon Snow. I told him we need that as a shirt. And I think y'all were in there. Oh, hey, Bastarino, what's going on, dude? We need that as a shirt. And I need y'all to help me pressure him into making that shirt, because I will buy it. Hand to God, I will buy a copy of that shirt. So, speaking of content creation, I just filmed a video to talk about Vince Zampella. He died in a crash yesterday. I haven't watched it yet. If you haven't put it out yet, but I don't know who that is. I'm sure I'll find out in your video though, because I definitely watch all your stuff. So, original G1 Transformers are pretty easy to transform. The new ones, yeah, you need instructions. I would almost say the opposite. Some of the older ones though, and granted, now I was also younger, but like, I'm pretty sure I broke Jazz as soon as I got him. I know I broke Shockwave as soon as I got him, because you had to move the legs either forward or backwards, and then they would separate. And I didn't get it all the way done. And whenever it did, it broke part of the plastic parts, which would have been like right here, kind of as in the crotch. I know I broke him like the first time I got him, which was infuriating, but it is what it is. But yeah, I will say one of the things I do like about the newer Transformers, though, because I have had some of the newer ones, is a lot of them are ball and socket joints. And so, when you were a kid, if you broke Starscream's arm off, well, now you got a one-arm Starscream. Like, that wasn't happening. But the newer ones, because it's a ball and socket, just pop it right back in there, and you got a completely functioning Starscream as long as you hold on to it. The other thing that I love so much about the newer Transformers is they've thought ahead. And number one, their hands 99% of the time fold up into their arms. Like, I may have 2 Optimus Prime hands sitting around somewhere. I doubt it. I might have 2 of. I guarantee I probably have 1 hand from each of the Seekers, but probably not both. And then like weapons. Like, were they planning on, if they had put out like additional packs that you could buy like weapons, they would have sold tons of them, because we were constantly losing the weapons. Nowadays, most of the time when they transform, they fit somewhere on the body or in the body or clip on or something like that. And I love that about the newer ones. So, you love my Transformers collection. Yeah, Luke, we're gonna have to get together sometime and talk about that. So I just put it up. Literally, one of the co-founders of Infinity Ward and Respawn, COD and Titanfall. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely have to watch that after this stream. Last line. So, all right. Let's see. How far along are we? Where's my thing? Oh, because the bottom of the screen is up there. That's why. We're an hour and 13 minutes in. You know what? We're going to call this one on this one, and then we're going to play the last game that I wanted to cover. So, all right. So switch back over here real quick. All right. So there was one more game that I wanted to cover, at least on this time. And that is, jumping a little further ahead, SimCity. I will never forget getting a Super Nintendo and going with my grandmother. We did not have a Toys R Us where I live here. The closest one was in Austin, Texas, which is an hour south of us. And so we only ever got to go to Toys R Us once, maybe twice a year. Like, that was a big deal to me and my brother, getting to go to Toys R Us. And so I'll never forget the year that we knew either we had a Super Nintendo, we knew we were getting one. I don't remember. No, we had gotten one. Yeah, we had gotten one like during the summer. So we had one, and we were asking for games for Christmas. That's what it was. And my brother and I were both trying to figure out what games we wanted to ask for my grandmother. And SimCity was one of the ones that we lit on, which is kind of odd because I don't know. I mean, not saying I'm an intellectual person, or not necessarily my brother is as well, but I go back and look at it. And I was like looking at all the games that were out on the Super Nintendo. I was like, I specifically picked a game where you build a city. Like, why? Why did we do that? And yet, all my friends had copies of it as well and loved playing it as well. Like, that used to be a hell of a lot of fun. So, Luke's Awakening took one down. I debated on getting the Optimus Prime re-release just to get the fist and weapons for my original Prime. Dude, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm sure you probably know about Wheeljack's Garage. I think that website is still around where you can go back and buy parts, but they're a little pricey, especially for what they are. SimCity was the second NES game I ever played. My brother's friend got the SNES around launch time and had Super Mario World and SimCity. He brought it over. Dude, nice. So, hello, Cyrus. Hello. Well. We were just talking about you. I have a great copy and manual. Love this game on the Super. Yeah. Here's the thing about this one. I know this is a stripped down version of SimCity, but it makes sense. It is sim enough that you can do it and you can play it and have fun with it. But like, it seems like the other versions of this game are too sim, and it gets bogged down very, very quickly. Like I tried playing some of the other ones on like PC and stuff later on, and I was so excited. I was just like, man, these things look awesome. They're going to look fantastic. You're going to be able to do all this other stuff. It's going to be more involved or whatever. And then when I started playing it, I was just like, this is kind of boring. Like this is like actually trying to run a city, and I just kind of want to do it as a game. So yeah, this to me, this is the peak version of SimCity. Like I said, I guarantee there's some people out there that are just like, what? No, this is the kids version of it, but I don't care. I love this version. So yeah, Luke's Awakening, speak of the devil. There is Cyrus here to defend his honor. So what did you learn? SNES SimCity is the best. Yeah, love it, man. Sai, there was a little discussion in the chat. Did you start the check it to chat, or did that come over from someone else? Just wondering. Either way, just wanting to know. Trying to give credit where credit's due. So anyway, all right. So let's go ahead and switch over here and start playing SimCity. SimCity. So there we go. The music in this game is fantastic. I love, and thank God, because you stay in certain stages for so long in this game. Yeah, like if the music sucked on this game, like that would be rough. I mean, you could go in there. I believe you can go in there and turn off the music, but still. Should I do a scenario so one's already built? No, we'll start a new one. All right, chat. Put in a number. No, I stole it from Drunky Cheese. Okay. Come over. First person who puts up a number, that's the map we're going with. So funny story. A friend of mine was trying to get the Megaopolis, get the absolute highest number that you could, population in this game. And he thought he had everything set up and everything was running. And he went to sleep. Luke's Awakening. I knew it. I knew that was going to be the number someone was going to pick, dude. I'm glad it was you. All right. Tricom said the same thing. Y'all are my people. Anyway. Yeah, he thought he had it set up and he forgot to turn off natural disasters. And so he went to sleep, and when the next morning when he woke up, oh my God, this is a horrible map. Look at this. But okay, we're going to go with it. Oh. I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to put it in. Oh, I don't have enough for Boner Town. We'll make it Bonerton. How about that? Because I figured if I asked what name are we going to use, that was the name that was probably going to come up with. So, but anyway, yeah, he woke up the next morning and his town was like leveled. Half the city was gone because there was an earthquake, tornadoes. Bowser came and destroyed a bunch of stuff. It was hilarious. It was in development for both, but I guess Nintendo canceled the NES one to use the SNES as a potential system seller. It was a big game on PC, but SNES was a cheap way to play it. Yep. Same page. Hell yeah. Bone City? Yeah, we could go with Bone City. We're obviously not going to see this to the end, but... Oh, hell yeah, we're doing easy. All right. It's funny. I actually watched a guy was playing this the other day and was doing the whole, trying to build, like, it's crazy to play this to the Megaopolis. You cannot play this like it's a real city. Like, you have to do a bunch of weird stuff. All right, we're going to go nuclear. No clean coal here, folks. We're doing nuclear. So, all right. So we'll put some industry down. More commercial zones needed. You think? There's not even any residential. All right, we'll do that. And then we're going to do... See, this bugs me because it's 4 and these are 3x3. And... we're going to do that. All right. And then these people need a place to work and stuff and live. We'll put the commercial here. And I do tend to use donuts. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, look, I didn't do that. Oh, the wonders of emulation. All right. Since we don't have a lot of money right now, we're not going to worry about bulldozing this out and trying to build there. So, all right. And then let's see here. We need some residential. Yes, I know more residential is needed. That's what I'm working on now. All right. Because like on the other games, like, you know, you have to like, it's not just power. You have to worry about sewage. You have to worry about, there's so much stuff you have to worry about. It's so ridiculous. And see, like, I'm already regretting not having that road connected. But it doesn't have to connect. That's the thing about this game, is it does not have to necessarily make sense. You know what I'm saying? I forgot you can kind of hold it down sometimes. There we go. Okay. I got some little houses going here. Let's put some greenery up. Make it look nice, right? Oh, you know what else I didn't do that I should have done? Yeah. Make this thing run fast. I did do it correctly, right? Yeah, okay. Let's see here. So, put some more greenery down here. Did anyone else ever keep bulldozing or keep going over and over until they could get the trees exactly like they wanted them? Build a police department, and we'll put a fire department here as well. So, all right, that's not a bad little start for a city. All right, cool. So we've got a good start. Yes, tiny town. So nice. Why is this dude's hair green? Like, I mean, you know, I'm fine with people having different color hair. Like, that's fine. But I just kind of always thought it was weird dude had green hair. So maybe it's just me. Where would I like to build my own house? Well, I'm putting my house right here, sir. Yay! Everyone's happy. All right, is it saying I need more commercial and industrial? Or that I have too much? I can never remember. How did the bars go? All right, let's see here. You remember the money cheat? Oh, man, yes. I don't remember what the money cheat is, though. I remember there was a money cheat, but I don't remember what it was right offhand. I had the PC version on Windows, but it didn't feature any of the Nintendo enhancements. No music, no advisor, no Bowser. There was no music on that version? Wow. Wow. If there was no music, that'd be kind of interesting. Clean coal doesn't exist. LOL. Yeah, you got to clean it first, Luke. Scrub it down with Dawn. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you didn't know that? Come on, man. It only works for oil. Traffic jams. Stay off the streets. Heavy traffic is clogging our roads. Well, yeah, I guess I could just rip everything up and go mass transit. Let's see here. I like how the optimum way to play involves putting all of the police fire stations exactly in the center spots and only using railroads. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. This one doesn't have sewage. That wasn't introduced until 2000 where they added water pipes. Yeah, like I said, that was a pain in the ass. No, water pipes were around way before 2000. Oh, like your water burger? Okay, I'm not sure where we're going with this exactly. Yeah, the higher graphs mean more demand. Okay, so couldn't remember that. So apparently we need more industrial. We're obviously not going to keep playing this for super duper long. Can I fit one up here? Yeah, we can. Probably shouldn't have put these right here because it's too close. But like I said, all right. Yeah, that's a lot of traffic. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to treat this like it is... no, I can't say that because that's not the case. I was going to say we're going to treat this like it's Texas. And I'm going to destroy all of the roads all at once and make life absolutely miserable for everybody. But I am going to put down... mass transit instead, so... So I can attest to this. Right, Sai? Because that's how we do it. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. I wish we had more mass transit here in Texas, but it's the major road that goes through Texas, north to south, where pretty much all of insanity is I-35, and I-35 is constantly under construction. Oh yeah, I guess y'all need power, don't you? Whiners. So we need some more residential. Okay. Could build one right there. But yeah, if you've never, even if you're not trying, this is one of those games like, I mean, yeah, you could play it to try to beat it. And you could, you know, focus on that and really, you know, try to build, you know, the optimum city or whatever. But this is just one of those games that, like, why? Just have fun. Just start building a city. See what happens. And then you also have the pre-built cities you can go with. Funding level. I'm gonna leave everything funded. Can't remember how. We're gonna lower the rate a little bit. So see how people go to this. Everyone likes lower taxes, right? Did I not give these people power? Jeez. Quit whining. I mean, I could jack the interest rate all the way down to 0. I mean, I wouldn't have any money coming in, but... Yes, build. Build, my pretties. Build. Yeah, we're going to put that right there. Why not? Oh, look, I could do a stadium. I have thoughts on stadiums. I'm not a sports guy, but there's a lot of information out there that says that, even though they're like, oh, hey, if we build a new stadium, it'll bring in this much money and, to our city or to our state or whatever. And there's a bunch of information that shows that that's just not true. It's just not true. And the best, it's funny, I don't listen to a lot of political podcasts, but I hit 10,000. Nice. There's a lot of, this is the music right here. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out there that says, that doing stadiums and stuff like that, do not bring in anywhere near as much money as, they claim, and are nowhere near as good for the community and everything, like they want to pretend it is. But I was listening to a political podcast, and there was a guy that felt a lot like me, and the other guy was like, okay, I finally heard the way that I think I can convince you that this is a good idea. And he's like, okay, hit me with it. And the best argument that I've heard for having stadiums and professional teams and stuff coming in and all this other great stuff is the government is going to waste the money anyway. At least this way it makes people happy. Sorry, I can't get behind that. I'm still just like, no, then don't waste the damn money. But anyway, that's me. So I'll get off my political, my soapbox here. So yeah, we'll go with the figures because we're about to quit anyway. Because I've been going for about an hour and a half. So let's as I would say, check it to chat, or as Drunky would say, check it to chat. Last line knows how we talk. Him is educated. Fair enough. Waterburger is how Texans say Whataburger. Okay, as a kid, yes. As a small kid, yes. I used to call it Waterburger and could not figure out why would you want a Waterburger? That's gross. And then, you get older and you're just like, yeah, Waterburger is really good. And then they got bought out by a third-party company that doesn't even stay here in Texas anymore, and now it's okay. They're more interested in selling you Whataburger licensed everything than actually selling you burgers, which is crazy. So, all right. I guess the people have no electricity for months at a time. Yeah, I guess technically if I'm running, if I ran the speed up as fast as I did, they would be stuck for quite a while, huh? I bet the people on the lower right apartment area has cheap as fuck rent. Most of the train tracks are underwater. Yeah, there are a lot of train tracks, but once again, this city does not have to make sense. Crime is very high. There's a police station literally right here in the middle of everything. More roads required. You told me not to build. See this, and this is where the problem becomes. I don't want to hear you people. Like, just go do your thing. Like, leave me alone. Let me just be a mayor. So I get it. I get why there's so many corrupt politicians. No, not really. Anyway, all right, we're going to call it on this one. See here, you need to add tariffs to everything. This is the way. You could change tax rates based on density and type of building. Do it like real capitalists. Yeah, true. Tariffs make everything great. They are like Pizza Hut, pretty much, yeah. We are losing our only football team because the greedy Chiefs owner, they're moving to Kansas. Oh, okay. Yeah. My wife was talking about that a little bit. She's not happy. She's not happy to say. Yeah. Everything needs tariffs. Eugene for Perez, Optimus Perez. No, absolutely not. Although I have, in the back of my mind, I have come up with some ideas as to things I would do. And we're not going to get into this here. We're going to get into that in a private chat because I'm not talking politics on streaming. That's asking for problems. So let's go ahead and wrap up here, guys. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. I know it was kind of a little impromptu thing. I've actually got a brisket out there on the smoker going right now. I gotta go check in on it here in a second. Actually, we can check in on it. If you have hit, how did people put this? Once you hit 40, 45, I've seen people even say as low as 35. And you have to you have to choose your specialty. Things like World War II stuff, smoking meats, stuff like that. I have seen where people are just like, you have to pick a specialty once you hit a certain age as a male. And one of the specialties I picked was smoking. That being said, if you enjoy smoking meats and you do not have a pellet grill, it's not cheating, guys. It is so good. Quite literally. I mean, I'm actually smoking 2 different points. It's not just one brisket, but like literally currently running at 251 degrees. One of them is sitting at 145 internal. The other one's sitting at 143. When they hit 155, I pull them, spritz them with apple juice, wrap them, put them back out there on the pit. And then when they hit the magic number, if you smoke meat, you know what the magic number is, 206. That is a magic number. That's when everything jiggles just like you want it. Then I'll pull it and let it rest for 3 or 4 hours, and I'll be good to go. Oh, that's the other thing I got to do. My boys wanted me to put a queso out there. I'm gonna be working on a queso as well. It's got white American, pepper jack, the queso blanco, cream cheese, rotel, I think something else. I can't remember if there was something else in it. And then one of my other boys was like, Dad, did you by chance buy any meat to put in the thing? I was like, well, what I thought I would do is when the brisket's done, I'll chop up some of the brisket and we'll put that in the queso, because hell yeah, that works. So Trichome smoked brisket set a place for me, dude. Wish I could, man. I'd love to meet. Getting to know some of you guys through chat has been really awesome. I'd love to meet some of you guys in person. Who knows? Maybe we can figure out something in the future. So, Luke's Awakening. Thanks, you Bean. Yeah, thanks, Luke. I need to go smack my boy again for bringing that up on the show. I am planning on another stream sometime tomorrow, because I do have about 5 other games I specifically remember getting for Christmas, and I wanted to play some of those on a separate stream. So I'm going to do that tomorrow, probably in the afternoon. As soon as I nail that down, I will, queso blanco, the white cheese that you use for queso a lot of times. Anyway, yeah, so I will probably be putting that up as soon as I see it. So let's just go through here. Let's see. We got Super Mega Graphics 64. One of my best friends, one of my worst enemies. Trichome was here. Luke's Awakening. Last Line was here. I know Bassarino jumped in for a while. My boy jumped in at one point. Trichome was here. If I didn't say his name already, I should have. Did I get everyone? Is there anyone else that I missed? I'm going through here and I'm almost to where it runs out. So yeah, I think, yeah, it ran out there. So if I missed your name, my apologies, but thank you for joining me. I do always appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun to hang out here. And I understand why Cy does this is, I started doing this and I get it. Like hanging out and chatting with guys on old video games is a lot of fun. It's the closest thing we can have to those days we used to where, your buddy would come over and you'd sit on the couch and play games for hours. So, it's about the best closest we can get nowadays. So anyway, I guess I'm going to wrap up with that for everyone on the site and everyone in the chat. Do more games week. I told you tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow, Cy. I've got other stuff I got to do. Talk to you later. Bye. EpicallyGeeky.com, where you can find all of the shows that we do, including the Epically Geeky Show, Marginally Geeky Book Club, Creatively Geeky, Sustainably Geeky, EG Live, and EG Gaming. But before you do, make sure to like and subscribe here on YouTube. And if you're a person with a human-style body, why not head over to our TeePublic store and grab a t-shirt, hat, shorts, or whatever else they sell to cover that body. You can find the link in the show notes. And thanks for supporting us here at Epically Geeky. See you next time.